Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. RFID cards. They are very common now, right? I have 4 of them in my wallet, and they can be used for a plethora of purposes. You know, from things like going to arcades, going to carnivals, or more useful things like paying for a bus ride. Clearly, these cards make our lives extremely convenient, but how do they work and how do they keep our information secure? Let's start by discussing how these cards work. And let's start by answering the question of where do they actually get their power? Obviously, since these cards have a little bit of logic inside them, they need power to run. But obviously there is no battery in a card like this. So where is it getting its power? Well, as it turns out, because this card contains an RFID antenna, well, when you actually hold it in front of a reader, the electromagnetic waves coming off the reader are actually enough to, well, induce some power in the antenna and power up the innards of this card. So yeah, surprisingly, the card is receiving wireless power enough for it to do its thing. Of course, active RFID devices exist as well. For example, you could have a token with a little battery inside, or alternatively the NFC feature on your phone. That is essentially an RFID device that, well, draws power from a battery. Of course, in this case, that being your phone's battery. Once your card or device receives power, it can then communicate over the RFID antenna with the reader. This allows, well, the two to talk, right? The reader can extract information from the card or the device. It can also cause a write. And what that means is it can actually store information onto the card itself. But here's the deal. How is your information kept secure? Now, obviously, when it comes to something like a bank card or a credit card that has contactless features, you'll want to be extra careful about this. You wouldn't want someone to, just have a reader, right, go around and scan everyone's pockets and take money from them. So, certain measures have to be put in place to, well, ensure that your data doesn't get leaked out. As it turns out, the easiest way to do this is to just not store information on the card itself. Instead of doing that, all you need to do is to have the card, well, declare an identification number every time it is tapped. Your information is actually stored online. When you tap it, that information is retrieved and, well, it seems transparent to you because ultimately you tap the card and it gives you the right information back. So in this case, the card is just used as an identification token, not as a means of storage. Of course, there are pros and cons to doing this. Pros being that, well, your information is safe, but cons being that when you tap the card, there is a short delay. The system needs to go online and make a request, and that is not instantaneous. In addition to that, if the link goes down, right, if there's no internet for whatever reason, the entire system breaks down. So that is one possible problem that could come out, from doing things this way. Of course, in terms of protecting your data, there are other ways to do it. For example, certain cards can be encrypted, like the cards we use to take buses here and trains. Those cards are actually encrypted. You will need to have the correct key before the card can actually be read or manipulated. So yeah, just some interesting thoughts about how these cards work, right? Firstly, how they actually work, how they draw power, and how you don't actually have to store information on them if you don't want to. That's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.